Welcome to our Research Like a Pro question and answer series. And today we're talking about citing multiple sources in one footnote. So this comes from the question, is it acceptable to have more than one source citation in a footnote? And of course it is. And here are some reasons you might want to use multiple sources in one footnote. Sometimes we are crunched for space and we don't want to write extra sentences or paragraphs. And so this helps us reduce space in our actual writing in the narrative. It gives us a chance to group similar sources together, and it helps us to easily cite negative searches. So let's look at some examples for each one of these so you can see how this can be done. So first of all, let's cover reducing space in the narrative. These examples are all from the report I'm working on currently from my research on the Kleins in Arkansas and Missouri. And so this little bit out of my report says Jacob married Talitha Ard in Wayne County, Kentucky in 1835 and moved to Morgan County, Missouri by the 1840 census. And then you'll notice I have the little footnote notation here, footnote 6, which in the report at the bottom of the page leads us to these two citations. Now, one of those is for the marriage record because Jacob married Talitha. So we have the Kentucky County marriage record cited. And then the other one is the 1840 census, which shows that he was living in Morgan County by 1840. Now, another way you might think I could have done this, I could have put a little footnote notation after Jacob married Talitha Ard in 1835. I could have had a number 5 here and then a 6 here and had a 5 and a 6 here. But my preference is to group things together so that I don't have the narrative broken up by multiple footnote notations. Because if somebody is reading this and they want to stop and look down and see what the source is, then they probably have to reread the sentence and it just breaks up the narrative and perhaps the understandability. So I prefer to put things to have multiple citations in the footnote. And you can see here that I did put them on their own line. You can also do something like see also, and then just have it all into one big footnote. You don't have to break it apart like I did here. But in my research reports, because there really is no page limit on them, I can use all the space I want. I like it this way because I can clearly see what I'm citing, and it makes it a little bit easier for readers, I think. Now let's look at an example of grouping similar sources together. So sometimes we just have a lot of things that are the same source, and maybe it makes sense to put them all under one footnote. So let's look at this narrative. I wrote, with Izard County, Arkansas identified as the earliest known location for Clemcy and Henderson Weatherford per the 1839 and 1845 tax records, a group of 3 Kleins was identified in the federal land patents for Izard County: John Klein, John C. Klein, and Mahala Klein. So I could have put a footnote notation after each one of these individuals and then put the corresponding citation with each one, but instead I chose just to do one. I just did the footnote 4, and then under 4, I have the various citations all listed out. So these are all the exact same source. They're all on the General Land Office records portion of the BLM website, and they all are pretty similar with the county and the number of the cash entry patent, the search, the images, etc. So in this one, I just grouped them all together so we could see if anybody wanted to go look this up, they could certainly go look up each one of these patents in the location and by the actual name of the individual. Now, another example is to let you cite negative searches. And I wrote in my narrative that John Klein of Pulaski County did not remain there long as he was not listed on the 1850 census in that county or surrounding counties, nor in any tax land or probate records. So I wanted to demonstrate that I had done some reasonably exhaustive research in Pulaski County to establish his residence. Prior to this sentence, I had talked about how in the federal land patent, he said he was of Pulaski County. And so I could have spelled out all these different searches that I had made in the report, but it really wasn't relative to this specific research objective. And so instead, I simply gave it the footnote number 5. And then here I have all of the different negative searches. So I have the 1850 census, and I did a pretty broad citation here in stating it was the population schedule I was searching, and it was a negative search for John Klein in Arkansas, Pulaski, and surrounding counties. So I didn't feel the need here to spell out specific counties that I searched for. In Ancestry, which is where I did the search, you can mark that as a certain county and then surrounding counties. How you want to describe your search is entirely up to you. I could have put something in here for how I searched for his name, variants, if maybe that was going to be important. Here I just decided a simple citation was sufficient for that. And then you can see the different databases. We had a probate database and then tax records, and then 2 deed indexes, one for the grantors and one for the grantees. And so this was how I decided to handle this whole idea of showing that I had searched for John Klein of Pulaski County, but he was not there in the main types of records that you would think an individual could be in, especially the tax lists. And so that was the way I chose to handle that. Now, another way you could do your negative searches if you have a lot more than this is you could simply put those into perhaps a table and put it in the appendix of your report, or you could refer to your research log. And maybe with your report, you would attach your research log or have that be part of the appendix. And then the reader could simply go to that to see all the negative searches. But I prefer to put as much as I can in the report and not make someone go look at another source, such as a research log. But if you have a lot of negatives, that sometimes is a better way to do that. So, writing reports and figuring out how to cite all the information that you found in the course of your research really depends a lot on the specific case, the specific objective, what you're trying to accomplish, and you'll probably do things differently for different reports. And the more experience you get in writing reports, the easier it will be for you to figure out how you want to handle some of these situations. So, hopefully, that gave you some ideas about how you can cite multiple sources in one footnote notation. Good luck as you work on writing your reports. Thank you.